Buddy, and welcome back to Open Up. Mike here, RC, and want to get into a little bit thing called the draft that happened yesterday. If anybody doesn't know, I know because I was dead excited about it. My Jets had 2 of the top first 10 picks, and
I didn't watch it. I know that much.
You didn't watch it, yeah. Well, I was glued to the TV, and I think the Jets did a phenomenal job in the draft. The Giants as well. The Giants did a great job. First overall pick, Walker going to Jacksonville. Second overall pick, Aiden Hutchinson going to Detroit. I kind of thought that was going to happen because Aiden Hutchinson played in Michigan, Detroit. They're right there. So
yeah, he's not going far.
Georgia. The kid Walker played for Georgia. He's going to Jacksonville. That's right there, right in the neighborhood. So it kind of figured out to be a good fit for those 2 guys. But I want to kind of talk about expectations.
Yeah.
Expectations that these kids are having now, being drafted in the first round.
I think they've always had it when it comes to playing a sport. I think the expectations have always been high. I mean, you kind of have to be, don't you think?
I mean, you have to. It has to be high, especially if you're getting picked as high as.
Because think about everybody you've ever known, friends growing up through school. You're like, oh, I want to play for the Jets, or I want to play.
Everybody says.
Everybody wants to play sport, right? But maybe 1 out of 300,000 gets a chance.
Maybe even less than that. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe 1 out of 500,000, gets a chance to do that, And I think that to go into that type of job, to do something you love, and to get paid a lot of money to do it.
A lot of money.
I think your expectations need to be high.
And you got to think about it. The expectations need to be high again. But as you said, with the 1 out of every whatever,
yeah, it's a lot.
Then you got to think, what percentage did that even go and be Hall of Fame players or even phenomenal players? It's even less than that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, you can make it into the NFL and not be anything.
Exactly.
But these kids are going there to be somebody, so it's even harder to get drafted in the first round or whatever have you, drafted to a sport, and then bring up the hype and to dominate or be the best at whatever you're doing.
Because we've seen plenty of drafts through different sports, and
they don't pan out.
There's a hype, and then all of a sudden, they get to they're injured, or the hype is gone.
The hype is too much for them,
and they're lost.
Sometimes it's even mentally. The hype was just too much for them, and then they didn't pan out, and it could ruin a person.
Yeah, and it's because it is a lot of pressure, and it's not just pressure from you put on yourself. Obviously your teammates, your coaches, but it's pressure from your
parents, family, friends.
I don't know. I guess when your kid is getting to a point in life where you realize that he or she could become somebody, I don't see the parents just sitting back and saying, well, you do how you feel. I kind of think that maybe not all of them, but most of them are, keep that pressure on. So these kids are dealing with the pressure from day one, from home.
Exactly, because you wanting to be so good, and what every child wants to do is make their parents proud. You want to make the parents proud. Of
course.
When you're trying so hard at something, and as a person, when you try so hard and you devote yourself to it, you kind of need that to make it just for yourself, for you on the inside. You're just like, man, I tried so hard, I've worked so hard, it needs to pan out, right? So it's hard on these players.
It is. But do you think there's a limit to expectations? Like when I say, I want you to take the Ball family. Okay, what's his name?
LeVar.
So he's got 3 sons, right?
Yes.
So everybody knows kind of how hard he has been on his kids since they were walking.
We're little. I mean, he was a Laker himself. He played.
So that's kind of on the extreme end.
Well, that's
obviously
another question.
It worked because he's got all 3
Yeah,
sons.
But that's another question. So how hard do you push? How hard? I mean, for example, like you said, with the Ball family, I mean, I've known him to push pretty hard.
Yeah.
And again, as a father to a child or a child that you're wanting to do great, there's limits to how far you can push, and then there's limits to maybe that person just wants to live in their son's dream.
I think it crosses a boundary.
It does it because, again, like you brought up with the Ball family, when LaMelo was actually drafted to the Charlotte Hornets, LeVar was very upset and kind of walked off and looked away because if everybody knows, he does not like Michael Jordan, knowing that Michael Jordan owns that team.
But instead of being happy for his son.
Exactly. Instead of being happy for his son, saying, this is your time, made it about himself. So,
he got bitchy.
Yeah, how far is too far? And, you know, and I'm pretty sure everybody else is seeing out there with the memes. They even have these high school recruits that pick their colleges. I don't remember the instance it was, but there was a mother where the kid was picking a college, and the mother wanted him deadly to go to the college she wanted to, and he picked another college, and the mother literally got up and walked off of live TV on ESPN and walked off because she was upset.
Yeah, that's a little, you know, it's like you said before, it's a parent trying to live through their child, and you know, that sets a bad example.
Yes.
You know, but as far
100%.
as pushing, how hard is too hard? I don't really think there is a limit. I think if a parent really knows their child, okay, they'll know how hard to push them. But that's what makes these certain people great. This is what makes those people stand out. You know, I'm not saying borderline abusive, but
again,
I'm saying, you know,
there has been.
You make 100 jump shots, or you don't eat dinner, type thing. You know
but there has been families noted to do something like that. Like again, the story I'm not clear with, but a father, when the kid was 3, just forced upon a football onto him. You know, forced upon a football and said, you know what, this is what you're gonna do. This is what you're gonna play. Yeah. And again, is that too much? Because I saw a great meme a couple months ago where a father was like, the first part of the meme was father's telling his son, make sure you do the books. And then a Fortnite tournament came out, and the winner won like $5 million. So the father directly, the next day on the meme, the father goes into the room of his child and yanks the books out of his hand and gives him a controller and says, hey, this is what we're going to do.
And that's exactly right. And a lot of kids are rising to that.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. With these things nowadays, are parents literally not thinking of the child and saying, you know what, if I get my son to do good and get paid this money, we're going to live good. And forcing it upon
it's a possibility. I'm sure it's probably crosses some of their minds. But you also think, like, I want you to go back a few years. If this wasn't really a common thing, like you had people come out of high school like Kobe or get drafted in the first round of NFL, you know, these phenoms, every one generation type thing.
Generational players, yes.
But I think in the last, I want to say 20 years, it's been more of parents seeing this before it happens and putting their kids take for instance, Tiger Woods was playing golf when he was 5 years old.
Yeah, his dad put the clubs in his hand.
So I guess people now, you know, parents now are trying to take that,
just mold them that into a certain way.
Take that path and say this is what we're going to do because, you know, it's very competitive out there.
Mm-hmm. It is 100%.
You know, if you slack off or if you lose interest, you could lose your chance, which is totally true.
That's what I mean? The pressure on these kids has to be so
It is pressure because as soon as you drop out, there's 100 more kids ready to go.
They say that to you every day. For that one person that is trying his hardest to make it to the NBA, there are 30 to 40 other kids doing even more harder work to get where that guy wants to be.
Yeah, so I think when it comes to a prestigious, I use the word job loosely, but to become a prestigious job, a sport you love to play, you know, it has to be like that because it's not like you're lining up to go, you know, work at Home Depot and there's 40 applicants. You know what I'm saying? You're getting a chance to play for a professional team,
You're
get paid
making
lots of money.
A lot of money doing
You
that.
get lots of fame, and you have a ton more opportunities that are going to open for you that couldn't even expect.
Of course,
Endorsements, and
your
photo shoots,
commercials,
and all that shit.
all that good stuff.
So I think the same thing kind of happens. You see a lot of it when you go to like certain schools, certain colleges, like Harvard Law School or Stanford, or you got these other kids trying to be the top of the class, being forced to be doctors or lawyers or top of their profession, and if you really think about it, that's why there's people in those positions, because of people's expectations, because maybe they were pushed, maybe some of them weren't pushed, but that's why there's people there. So it's for everybody else to see, like, okay, that's somewhere where you want to go. You know what I mean? Just imagine if no one had expectations.
If nobody had expectations, this world would be...
So the best is here. If no one had expectations, they would mosey on up to right here.
Right, yeah,
but now it's up here. You're 17 years old, you get drafted to high school. A parent sees that, like, I want my kids to do that. And it's got to start as soon as it happens.
There's two ways to this story, because again, my father played baseball in Puerto Rico, and he was tremendous. And when I got up the age, he direly wanted me to play baseball. Direly. And he threw me into... granted, I love baseball. Baseball's a great game to play. It's a great game to watch. But then my dad got too involved. Then he started being the coach, the assistant coach, making sure I was at practice, making sure
So he was living up your ass.
He was really on me all the time.
Yeah.
Till where the point was...
It turns you away, right?
It turned me away. I was a great baseball player.
Yeah, I think you'd be good.
I was great. I was good. Fast, catch the ball. And at a point where I had got injured, and I was like, you know what, let me just relax. And my father was like, no, it's not that bad. You can go, we can play, you can do it. To the fact I was like, you know what, I don't want to play baseball anymore. And it kind of regretted a little bit.
See, exactly.
I kind of regret it a little bit, because now, like I said, at an older age, I'd love to go out and play softball, baseball.
Yeah.
I could see myself doing something like that, and I'm still really good at it.
I think
it's just that,
I think it's
how hard is it when somebody's like that, like on you,
but I want you to think about, you're right.
I know they want you to do the best and be the best that you can be.
But what would happen if you didn't get hurt and you were like, and you said, okay, I'll do what you want me to do? Things could have been different now. You know what I mean?
It could have been. It could have been. Everything could be.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to say, because it's really if your child wants to just listen to you and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. I want to be good. Teach me how to get there. Unless something happens to you and you turn your cheek, because most of the time, when most people things happen when you get older, you're like, I wish I would have finished my MMA classes.
Yes,
I wish I would have, went.
We all have that in our lives.
Because now you realize
you're at that age.
Went through life, and it's like, wow, I didn't really get anything more out of it than I wanted before. And now you're more mature.
Maybe I could have done this, and maybe my path could have been different.
Exactly.
You always think of what if. Everybody does that. We all get trapped up in the what if game, and honestly, I understand the whole point of the what if, but obviously, the Lord has something better for everybody and a different path for everybody.
It's true. It is a path.
Obviously, my path of where I am led to has been great. I have family, everything I want, health, children, and at the end of the day, I'm the type of father where I don't put the ball or the glove in my child's hand. I let him pick it up, and if he's interested in it, I will teach him. If he's not, I'm not going to push him. Did that with my oldest. He really wasn't into sports until he got into about 15. Yeah. And then he wanted to be into sports.
And I think a lot of that is social too. I think a lot of that you see.
And if anybody knows, has anybody ever been on a team or played a sport? That camaraderie of your teammates, your travels, your times together, it can make you. It can make a person.
Especially if you're good. If you're blessed with some sort of talent.
You get to travel places and do that. And like I said, everybody should experience that.
And I agree with you on that point. I definitely agree with that. And I think the question, it's kind of hard to answer, because you say, can you push too hard? And a lot of instances,
I say yes.
I say no.
I say yes.
Because let's say you give your son a chance to, let's say he goes, I want to play football, and he's like 10. So he's chosen something he wanted to do. And then you get behind him and you start, taking
Pushing
him places,
him and
leagues,
training
whatever
him.
you got to do.
Yeah.
Now, is that too late for him to choose, or should you have started in Pee Wee League? Should you start at 5 years old? So this is what you're going to do.
Back 20, 10, 20, 30 years ago, yes, that was true. Nowadays, with these kids growing up huge, faster, smarter, bigger, I mean, they have been. Look at Patrick Ewing. I mean, he was one that didn't touch a basketball till he was in college.
Yeah,
and he's a Hall of Famer. So you can pick up a sport late and be great at it.
You can.
It's just got to be in you.
I do agree with
I
that
mean,
too.
and that's the way I feel. I feel like, you know what, I was great in any sport I played in. And my kids obviously are going to have traits of what I am.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it.
So if they wait to play a sport, I'm okay with it because I know physically they'll be able to catch up. Mentally, they'll be able to learn fast and pick up the game. So I'm not worried about that. But, there are parents that I feel just, damn it, they see these kids making millions of dollars on...
And they're shooting for it. And
they're like, just forget it. I don't care what you want to do. You're making millions of dollars and doing this. And it brings me down to a movie. I don't know if you've seen it, but have you seen Why Him? The movie Why Him with
no.
Cranston's in it. He's a great. But the point of the movie was there was this kid that had no life because his mother realized programming computers and numbers were going to be huge.
Future
of the world. So he was homeschooled. He never had any friends. He sit in the house all day and did coding. Granted, maybe he grew up to be a billionaire.
Yeah, exactly.
But he lost those, he had no sense of how to conversate.
Yeah, no social skills.
No social skills, stuff like that. So you do see
he had to give something up.
He gave everything up. And he didn't know. That's what I'm saying. As a child, you're not knowing what life is going to be. Usually if your parents say, hey, this is what you're going to do, this is it, that's what you learn. That's what you know.
And that makes sense. I mean, that I understand, and but the thing is, there's not, let's take that movie for instance. Let's say it was real or not, but there's maybe, 5 people in the whole country doing that.
But you don't know. We don't know. That's what I'm
true.
saying. We don't know.
But the majority of it it's very low because there's a very low, I guess, percentage rate people of going into professional sports.
Yes. Okay.
You know what I mean? And when you go up that pyramid, it's tougher and tougher.
Yeah, once you get to that second level, it's always tougher.
But I think if the child's mind isn't in it, if it's something that the child really doesn't want to do, I think you could push the child away. You could make them either resent it.
Yes.
And honestly, let's say you start at 5 and your child has this no talent, no coordination, and you're still pushing and pushing. Or somebody whose their child starts at
trying
10.
too hard.
Yeah, and their child starts at 10 and they have natural talent. See what I'm saying? So you don't really know until you let the child perform.
Yeah, and then again, so that's where I come into it, where I'm gonna let him pick up the ball, and if he wants to learn, I will teach him. I'm not gonna give him the ball and say, this is how you do this. I want him to say, hey, look at this. I think this is pretty fun. I would like to play it. How do we play this? And I go on to it instead of saying, here, this is what you're doing. You're taking this and you're making it in here. Every time you're shooting from here and you're shooting from here. And granted, I have never done that with my youngest, and my youngest has a great jump shot.
Yeah.
But he loves to play, and I don't make it too hard on him. I just, like every parent, we just want our kids to be happy.
Yeah.
And that's the question I have. That's the question I want to end with everybody out there. What would you want for your child? And I know it's an easy question. Everybody wants their kids to be happy.
But it is, it's also with these parents that choose things. It's also like most of them, not all of them. Most of them have good intent.
they start off.
Yeah, and they're
with
thinking
good
this is
intent.
how hard you have to work because I don't care how much talent you got. Everybody tell you it's all about hard work. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Which I understand that.
It always is, always hard work.
And most of them have a good intent, and like you said, going into it. Some keep it all the way through, but some lose themselves in that
Yeah.
after a while when they start realizing there's this huge potential that as you get closer to it, it's the herd's thinning out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, and then like you said, only a few get picked, so it gets rough. But I feel for these kids, especially being picked first number 1 overall. It's a lot on your shoulders. They're asking you to carry a franchise, basically.
Yeah. It's a lot of pressure.
And I hope these kids make it because I hate to see the ones that have all the talent in the world and then they break down.
And you're right, and that happens a lot. It does happen a
It
lot.
does.
So now you're getting to a point where there's even fewer people who have all the talent and can handle it
Mentally.
and move through.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because now it's only half of what everybody who got in. So yeah, it is a tricky situation, and I guess you don't really know until you actually get there. So you really, you can see your child doing great, this and that, but you don't really know how it's going to end up turning out. And I would say just try to find a fair balance.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you got to instill hard work, and
sacrifice, and no, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
And usually, if it's easy, it's not good for you. That's how life is.
Everybody would be doing that.
Yes, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Exactly. And I just want to say, again, it brings us to the point of mental health. Make sure everybody has somebody to talk to. Realize that mental health is real, and we as people don't want anybody going through bad things as what mental health can do to people.
Yeah, that's it. If you see something, say something. Have a conversation.
Basically. Say something. Even the easiest thing is just to say hi. So if you guys like the content, hit the like button, share. Subscribe if you can. It's free. Just click that, click, and don't forget, second round of the draft Friday. Everything ends
tonight.
That's it.
Tonight.
It's tonight at 7:00 and again, the Jets. We're looking for all you Jets fans and Giants fans because we did do great in the draft. Yes, let's go New York teams. And thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you at another time, guys.
See you later.
Thanks.